Imagine a secret government project so advanced, so out of this world, that it blends science fiction with reality, from shadowy figures lurking in the dark to mind control experiments and time travel. The Montauk Project has it all. So grab your flashlight and keep it close, because we're about to explore the shadows of Montauk. Let's start with one of the most haunting aspects of the Montauk Project: the shadow people. For the past few decades, visitors to the area around the decommissioned Montauk Air Force Base have reported strange incidents of feeling as though they were being watched, and even more frightening, that they've seen glimpses of the entities watching them back. Most witnesses describe these figures as vaguely human in form, but with a solid black or dark silhouette. They lack facial features or any details, making them look more like moving shadows than real people. Many report seeing a shape out of the corner of their eye, something dark and human-like, but with no clear features. Witnesses report that those figures appear suddenly, usually at the edges of their vision, and disappear just as quickly. This fleeting nature adds to their eerie quality, leaving people unsure of what they saw. Was it just a trick of the light, or something far more sinister? Even more unsettling is how they move. Their movements are often unnatural or disjointed. Some say they glide instead of walk, or move in ways that defy normal human motion, as if they're not bound by the usual rules of physics. It's like they're existing outside our reality. The single most popular theory behind these shadow people links them to what has been called the Montauk Project. The Montauk Project was allegedly a series of secret government experiments conducted at Montauk Air Force Station in New York. These experiments involved manipulating time and space, experimenting with alternate dimensions and timelines. But what if these shadow people are entities from those other realms, slipping into our reality? To understand the Montauk Project, we need to look back at the history of Camp Hero. Built in the late 19th century, Fort Hero became Camp Hero during World War II. It was designed to look like a fishing village from the sky, disguising its true purpose. A coastal defense station with heavy artillery to protect against German U-boats. In early 1942, Germany launched Operation Drumbeat, targeting Allied shipping along the U.S. East Coast. German U-boats patrolled from Maine to Florida, even entering the Gulf of Mexico. They sank hundreds of ships, causing significant loss of life and resources. These U-boats attacked ships as close as 12 miles off the coast, and residents in places like Montauk could see burning ships on the horizon. The United States needed a way to protect these ships and make them invisible to enemy radar. Enter the Philadelphia experiment. According to conspiracy theories, in 1943, the U.S. Navy conducted a top-secret experiment on the USS Eldridge, led by Dr. John von Neumann. Von Neumann was working on the Manhattan Project at the time, and was widely regarded as one of the most brilliant mathematicians who'd ever lived. His idea to tackle the problem of German U-boats disrupting supply lines, make the ships invisible to enemy radar using powerful electromagnets. Sounds like science fiction, but according to accounts, things went horribly wrong. The USS Eldridge reportedly had approximately 100-200 crew members on board at the time. The crew was not fully briefed on the true nature of the experiment. They'd only been told that the experiment was part of a degaussing procedure, which was a real naval technique used during World War II to protect ships from magnetic mines. Once the electromagnetic shield was turned on aboard the USS Eldridge, a series of catastrophic and bizarre events unfolded. Witnesses from nearby ships and docks reportedly saw a strange green mist or fog begin to surround the USS Eldridge as the electromagnetic field was activated. This mist was said to quickly evolve into a swirling green vortex. Next, the ship disappeared from sight entirely, becoming invisible to the naked eye. To outside observers, the ship either vanished completely or was seen only as a faint outline or distorted image in the mist. The ship reportedly briefly appeared in Norfolk, Virginia, over 200 miles away, and where it had frequently been docked. A few moments later, it disappeared again and reappeared in Philadelphia. But while the ship returned safe and sound, not all of the crew on board were as lucky. Some are said to have become fused with the metal structure of the ship, partially embedded in bulkheads, decks, or other parts of the vessel. These crew members were reportedly in excruciating pain, and many died as a result of their injuries. Other crew members allegedly suffered severe psychological trauma. Some went insane, reportedly driven mad by the experience of being teleported or exposed to the electromagnetic field. Some crew members were said to experience a condition where they would phase in and out of visibility, disappearing from sight for brief periods and then reappearing. This phenomenon is often described as a lingering effect of the ship's time and space distortions. Others, such as Navy engineers Al Bielek and his brother Duncan, jumped overboard while the experiment was underway, seemingly having vanished when the ship eventually reappeared. But did they really simply just vanish? Not according to Al and Duncan. According to their accounts, when Al and Duncan opened their eyes, they found themselves lying on the ground at Montauk Air Force Station in 1983 there. They're greeted by Dr. John von Neumann. Official records claim that Dr. von Neumann died of cancer in 1957, but some believe he faked his death to continue his work in secret. Dr. von Neumann is now much older now, in 1983, and reveals that the experiment had ripped a hole in the fabric of space-time, sending the brothers forward in time. Von Neumann and his team at Montauk had been continuing the experiments that began with the Philadelphia experiment, but with even more ambitious goals: mind control, psychic powers, time travel, and interdimensional travel. And they had been waiting for Al and Duncan. After World War II, Project Paperclip brought Nazi scientists to the U.S. While many of these scientists worked on what later became NASA, some instead joined the Montauk Project, bringing their own dark experiments in time travel, mind control, and psychic abilities. Dr. von Neumann introduced Al and Duncan to the culmination of his work: the Montauk Chair, a device that amplified psychic abilities, allowing users to manipulate time, space, and even reality itself. Tesla's work on resonance and electromagnetic fields, combined with Einstein's theories on relativity, provided the foundation for the Montauk Chair and other advanced technologies used in the experiments. Imagine being able to see into the future or the past to influence events across time. The Montauk Chair was said to make this possible. Duncan Cameron, it turned out, was particularly gifted. While seated in the chair, he could transmit his thoughts, control objects, and even influence others' minds. It was like having superpowers. With a lock of a person's hair or other appropriate object in his hand, Duncan could concentrate on the person and be able to see as if he was seeing through their eyes, hearing through their ears, and feeling through their body. He could actually see through other people anywhere on the planet. As the project progressed, scientists discovered that the Montauk Chair could do more than just remote viewing. It could open portals in time and space. By focusing psychic energy, users could open a gateway to a specific point in time, whether in the past or the future. Small-scale tests began, sending objects and animals through these portals, perfecting the technology before attempting to send humans. Duncan Cameron eventually mastered the Montauk Chair, gaining the ability to travel not just with his consciousness, but with his entire body. He and Bielek traveled to various points in the future, witnessing worlds both dystopian and utopian. In one timeline, they saw a world in 2137 devastated by environmental disasters. In another, they encountered a society in 2749 where technology had eliminated scarcity and people lived in floating cities free from labor. Using the Montauk Chair's psychic amplification capabilities, some subjects were reportedly able to project their consciousness across vast distances, accessing planets in other dimensions or galaxies. One of the most famous accounts involves Duncan Cameron and Al Bielek traveling to a planet in another part of the galaxy. In this version of the story, they accessed a portal that led them to a desolate, dark planet. The planet was said to be bathed in perpetual twilight, with a thin atmosphere and jagged mountains stretching across a barren landscape. The air on this alien planet reportedly had a metallic taste, and the sky was described as having a strange purple hue. The atmosphere was thin, which made breathing difficult, adding to the unwelcoming nature of the world. On this desolate planet, Bielek and Duncan claimed to have encountered intelligent reptilian beings. These creatures were allegedly watching them from a jungle-like area near the planet's surface. According to Bielek's accounts, these beings lived in a massive city that was hidden in the jungle, built into the landscape itself. Some accounts suggest that scientists from Montauk tried to access ancient structures on Mars, such as pyramids, which were believed to be left behind by an advanced alien civilization. These structures were supposedly highly fortified, and the scientists had difficulty penetrating them. But the ability to witness past events, other planets, and other timelines weren't enough for the powers that be behind the Montauk Project. Duncan and the other psychics were tasked with influencing past events, attempting to alter key moments in history. One of their most crucial missions was to prevent the disastrous Philadelphia experiment from happening. They believed that by destroying the equipment that caused the original experiment, they could repair the damage done to the fabric of space-time. According to the story, by changing the past, Duncan and Bielek erased their original selves from the timeline. This would also explain why there were no public records of their involvement. By changing the past, they erased their original selves from the timeline. But by now, many of those working on the Montauk Project had begun to believe the technology was too dangerous. Secret plans were put into place to create a contingency program. The contingency program was triggered when someone approached Duncan while he was in the Montauk Chair and whispered the phrase, "The time is now." This phrase was meant to activate a subconscious response in Duncan. Duncan's psychic abilities were already being amplified by the Montauk Chair, and this phrase supposedly triggered an extreme and unforeseen reaction within his subconscious mind. Upon hearing the command, Duncan unintentionally released a monster from his subconscious mind. The monster was described as big, hairy, hungry, and nasty. Multiple witnesses saw the monster, but their descriptions varied. This variability in its appearance may suggest that the monster was not a fixed entity, but rather an abstract creation, shaped by the perceptions and fears of the individuals witnessing it. To deal with the out-of-control situation, the decision was made to destroy the equipment that was powering the experiments, particularly the technology linked to the Montauk Chair. The belief was that by cutting off the source of energy that had allowed the monster to be projected into reality, they could stop its rampage. The equipment responsible for sustaining the manifestation was smashed, and the Montauk Chair was rendered inoperable. Once the equipment was destroyed, the monster dematerialized. Following the disappearance of the monster, the Montauk Project was shut down entirely. The incident was seen as proof that the experiments had become too dangerous and uncontrollable. The destruction caused by the monster, combined with the unpredictable nature of the experiments, forced those in charge to abandon the project. Any remaining equipment was either destroyed or hidden, and the personnel involved had their memories erased to ensure that no one could speak about the events that had occurred. In mid-1984, a squad of Marines was deployed to clear the base. The Marines removed sensitive equipment, including a room filled with skeletons. 6 months later, the underground facilities were sealed with concrete, burying the secrets of the Montauk Project forever. But the story doesn't end with the closure of Camp Hero. Some individuals who were involved with the Montauk Project reported strange events when returning to the base. There were claims of abductions and unexplained phenomena. In 1991, video surveillance was installed on the transmitter building, indicating that someone was still interested in what was happening at Montauk, despite its supposed abandonment. So what do you believe? Are the shadow people mere tricks of the mind, or are they remnants of experiments gone wrong, slipping between dimensions? Did the Montauk Project really delve into the darkest corners of science and the human mind, creating phenomena that still haunt us today? If you enjoyed this deep dive into the unknown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a journey into the paranormal. Have your own Montauk stories or theories? Share them in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe in the shadows.